morning and welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on India's #1 channel, ET Now. That's right, folks, it's another week and we'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank our viewers for putting the faith in ET Now. We're once again the #1 English business news channel all over India with a 45% market share. So thank you, viewers, and of course continue to placing the faith in ET Now, at that too at such a crucial time, the Indian elections. Well, let's get back to the markets then, and we seem to be staring at once again a very flat move for the Nifty, which is at 11,580, and the Sensex, which is down by about 24 odd points. As you can see on your screens, we've been very range bound. It's just been a 20 to 23 point of a move that we are seeing on an intraday basis for the Nifty and the Sensex as well. Very minor moves, while the broader markets at this point of time are the ones that are declining. And how the metal space is something that's really taking it on the chin today in trade, being one of the top sectoral losers. But this show is all about the big movers and shakers today, and we're going to wrap up all the big movers and shakers over the next 30 minutes. Joining us on the show are Soumya Sharma, and on the technicals we have with us Kunal Bothra as well as Manas Jaiswal. So thanks to all of you for joining in. But the very first stock that we want to address is an ET Now exclusive, and that's Jet Airways. Remember that the lenders have extended the deadline to submit the bid for the debt-ridden airline to the 12th of April. There have been only 2 bids so far for Jet. Now, according to sources, one of the bidders for Jet actually might be a fund. Let's go across to Nayantara Rai for more details on that. Hi, Nayantara.
Hi, Mubina. We at ET Now exclusively picking up a couple of bids have come in for Jet Airways. At least 2 are in. That is confirmed. One of them is a fund. We've not been able to ascertain the identity of it. What I'm also being told is that not a single airline has put in a bid as yet. We have not said it, but there have been certain reports that listed players like Interglobe have submitted a bid. However, my sources, and I put this story out about 30 minutes back, confirming that Interglobe has not submitted a bid for Jet, and it's unlikely to do so. The Tata Group, we've been talking about how it's interested, but just in a piecemeal manner. It'll want to bid very aggressively only if Jet is taken to the NCLT, because it only wants the parking slots, the landing rights, etc. Tata so far not submitted a bid either. Etihad Airways is very keen to submit a bid. Interestingly, it has a board meeting later today, one of the reasons SBI Caps, which has a mandate for the stake sale, decided to defer the bid is because it got feelers from entities like Etihad Airways that it wants to put in a bid, but it needs more time. And the fact that it received bids and others were in the fray, it decided in the larger interest, to extend the deadline to Friday. It was supposed to be ending at 6 p.m. yesterday. So this is it. We know about 2 bids that have definitely come in. We've not been able to ascertain the identity. I can say with a fair amount of confidence that those who are putting out names is very speculative in nature. We know one is a fund. None of them is an airline. Interglobe is not submitted a bid. Etihad is probably going to do so. Tata still has not.
Okay, one of them is fun. None of them are airlines actually bidding for Jet Airways. Thanks a lot, Nayantara, for joining in with those details. Indian aviation, I don't think, is a very attractive space, and at least that's what potential bidders do not consider it to be, so not at least their peers at this point of time. Well, that's the exclusive on Jet Airways. Let's move on to another exclusive, and that is with respect to Ujjivan Financial. The stock price is surging, and how? Soumya, what's the news here?
Has been gaining for the past 2 days, in fact, and happens to be among the top gainers on the Nifty 500 index. But what's the exclusive out here? What we're gathering from the sources that the top HDFC Bank management personnel is likely to join Ujjivan Financials. Nitin Chugh is the person who is likely to join Ujjivan Finance as the CEO of the bank. Well, let me tell you, Nitin Chugh was the country head and digital banking at HDFC Bank. So he's likely to join Ujjivan Finance. Earlier also what we gained was the company was looking had submitted around 3 names to the RBI. So what we are gathering is one of the names who's been finalized is Nitin Chugh.
Okay, so that's the news, and that's something that's keeping Ujjivan very active today in trade. Meantime, Kunal, Bajaj Auto continues to be something you're flagging off.
So yes, Mubina, many of the auto stocks are showing not just signs of rally, but this rally is getting sustained. So Bajaj Auto, case in point, the 3rd day where you're seeing the stock trading up higher from 2850. It's now almost 120, 130 rupees higher from those levels in the last 3 days, and that's come across as a more of a subtle rally. It's not been caught by many short-term traders, but I believe that with such kind of price up move, steady uptrend building up, and the overall chart pattern is quite stable, I think Bajaj Auto should rally from current levels. So I think as a short-term trade, I would initiate a buy with a target of 3050 and stop loss at 2900.
All right, Bajaj Auto again gaining. It's a little over 1% of gains seen over here. Well, Jet's loss is SpiceJet's gain. You could call it that. We understand now that the planes that have been deregistered from Jet Airways is something that SpiceJet may actually be now looking at. In fact, do remember that amid the entire Jet Airways crisis as well, for the fourth quarter, it's expected that Indigo and SpiceJet may actually be set for a good landing in the fourth quarter, because there have been capacity cuts in Jet. There's a Boeing 737 MAX ban as well, which is expected to result in better yields for Spice and Indigo. And of course, not to mention some of the slots as well at airports has been given off to the other aircraft. Sources also suggesting that Spice may be leasing 10 to 12 aircrafts that have been deregistered from Jet Airways. So, you are seeing some green on the screen for Spice. It's 3.5% higher. All right, moving on, let's connect with Manas as well. Manas, today the metal stocks are really taking it on the chin. What would be your strategy for JSW Steel?
See, JSW Steel stock has been facing resistance near to its 100-day moving average for last, I think, 1 month. But I'm not bearish on JSW Steel. I feel that this is a consolidation phase, and if you're long, then definitely you can hold it, keep your stop loss below 275. And after some more consolidation, you can see an upside breakout above 300. And if it breaks that, then definitely you can see the levels of around 330. So JSW Steel is a hold with a stop loss of 275.
All right, well, that's JSW Steel. But here's another interesting brew in the media space, and that is an ET exclusive, where it looks like there may be a deal brewing between Dish TV as well as Bharti Airtel. Soumya, what's the news?
Well, yes, both of these stocks, both Dish TV and Airtel, are in focus today. Well, according to ET reports, Singtel, Airtel and Warburg are in talks to buy a 61% stake of Subhash Chandra in Dish TV. Well, thereafter, Bharti Airtel might, just merge the Airtel's DTH arm with a listed Dish TV through a reverse merger. So that's what's new in this space, and that's what's keeping both the stocks in focus today.
Okay, so that's the latest news coming in. Dish TV, of course, has completely given up those gains, whereas Airtel still managing to hold on. A big loser among the metal space is also Vedanta. Some negative news as well coming in, apart from the fact that the sector as a whole is very weak. And that is that at Vedanta, there have been some major resignations. The CEO as well as the CFO has quit. And not just that, a UK court has ruled that Zambians can actually sue the company for pollution compensation. This is with respect to the copper plant that as well was in the eye of the fire on account of pollution that was released by the unit in Zambia. So this is something that's keeping the company in focus. And of course, I think a bigger news would also be the high-profile resignations from Kane, which is the recently merged energy entity of Vedanta. Okay, let's talk about GSFC. Kunal, today we are seeing a lot of fervor in the fertilizer names. What would you make of the move in GSFC?
So yeah, I think in terms of chart patterns, Mubina, this stock is forming a bullish flag pattern. Now look at the last 2 weeks of price action. It's a high beta stock, and you don't expect a sideways range for high beta stock in a tight band. The range is a bit broad in nature, and I think which is where I believe GSFC has been hovering around. I think the band is almost 8 to 9% for the stock in terms of the consolidation. But net with this bullish flag pattern, formation getting done on the price front, I believe the stock could break out on the upside. It's at 105, 106 levels. I believe as a short-term play, the breakout could take the stock higher till almost 112 to 114.
Okay, 1.4% higher today in trade. Manas, the last couple of days we've been seeing significant weakness come by for an Asian Paints. You could attribute it perhaps to that downgrade that came in, and also of course the strength in crude. Today, however, it's attempting to rebound.
See, Mobina, I think recently we have seen almost 125 rupees correction in Asian Paints. But now I feel that the stock has a lot of support near to 100-day moving average. So I think if it sustains, if it breaks 1435, then definitely you can take a chance for a long position. If it breaks 1435, then you can create long positions with stop loss of 1400, and in that case, stock can again come in the range of 1500 to 1510.
All right, that's the recommendation on an Asian Paints. Soumya, what's the news for Walk Hard?
When US FDA cheer coming in for the company, the US drug regulator has approved Wockhart's cancer drug. Let me tell you, this is the third US FDA approval for an oncology product for Wockhart during the past 3 months. And this product has an approximate sales of over $120 million in United States. So that's what keeping the stock bullish today, higher by over 1.8%.
Well, it's come up the day's high, but nevertheless the momentum still seems to be towards the green. One stock, however, that's not gaining is JSPL. Remember, yesterday we did see the crack come by in the stock price. Today that seems to be continuing. This after there was news that the Wollongong Coal Limited, which is basically a subsidiary of JSPL, given the fact that it owns a little over 60% in the company, has had to shut down its mine, one of its mines in Australia. Now, the problematic factor is the debt that JSPL owns. It has a debt of a little over 600 million Australian dollars, pardon me. So this is something that could be a perturbing factor, because it would mean that JSPL would have to now consider how to restructure these debts if the underlying asset itself has sort of ceased operations. So important news for JSPL, and it's 3.5% down. Kunal, Ashok Leyland again on your radar?
Yes, Movina, you can't take your eyes off from the kind of chart patterns Ashok Leyland is also forming. So, as we were discussing for Bajaj Auto, maybe Maruti, I think a few weeks back, Ashok Leyland is also forming a similar sort of chart pattern. Now, in terms of price front, there is a bullish, I would say a pennant kind of a formation on the stock prices for the last 2 weeks. But very interesting pattern is, in technical terms we call it as an Ichimoku pattern, which is one of the key indicators of a strong trend reversal. The stock is just about in confirming distance of breaking the barrier of the resistance of this pattern, and I believe if that happens for the stock price, it could restart a new trend for Ashok Leyland. So not just as a short-term play, but I think even as a medium-term play, I think this stock should be on traders' radar.
All right, so yes, Kunal seems to be very, very optimistic on Ashok Leyland, so do keep that one on your radar. OMCs and the entire energy basket today seems to be gaining very smartly. Manas, your opinion on the IOC's move today?
In all the three oil marketing companies, I think the IOC is the strongest one, because stock is trading above 200 moving average. Just 2 days back, after a small correction, stock took support near to 200 moving average. So I feel that stock has a lot of support near to 150 levels. So I think even at current levels, you can create long position for the target of around 170. The stop loss should be around 150.
Okay, IOC seems to be the strongest chart as per Manas among all the other OMCs. Soumya, what's the news on NBCC?
Well, NBCC, the stock has been snapping 2 days of losses and has gained by over 1.1% on back of the fact that they've secured total business of over 3,030 crore rupees in the month of March. Well, the company yesterday informed the exchanges about this latest update, wherein they said that the total business during the month of March was at approximately value of 30 crore rupees.
Okay, a little over 1% higher. This one too has seemed to pair off some of those gains that it's on the early part of the trade. Stock number 15 is Rashtriya Chemicals Fertilizer. Like I flagged off earlier as well, fertilizer stocks seem to be gaining very, very smartly today in trade. For RCF, it has managed to cross the 200 DMA as well on an intraday basis. So quite a move seen over there. Second straight day of gains. In fact, just this entire week has been quite a good one. We saw that 3% uplift coming in on Monday. Tuesday, of course, it took a breather. And again, last 2 trading sessions gaining very, very smartly. And at 61.8, the stock is actually at the highest level since early February. So it's almost a 2-month high for the fertilizer company. Okay, well, we'll do one thing. We'll take a very short breather right here on the show. Stay on with us. The countdown will continue when we return. This is Market Fatafat. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now. Naresh Goyal pledged 26% of his stake in the company to PNB. Boost for Jet Airways not ending, and more particularly for Naresh Goyal not ending. But it certainly has amplified the sort of stake that lenders as a whole do own in Jet Airways. It's a 26% stake that's pledged to PNB. I think that boils down to almost zero for Naresh Goyal now. That's sort of unpledged. That's the free shares. Of course, we'll have to just get that checked, because do remember, he did own about half in Jet Airways, but subsequently lenders converted some of their debt to equity, which caused them to be some of the majority shareholders. Jet Airways for now just higher by 0.3%. Well, let's continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers. We flagged off IOC. I also want to flag off BPCL, because addition to the fact that OMCs today are having a great day today and trade along with the rest of the energy basket. There's also UBS, which is maintaining a buy stance on BPCL with the target at 415 rupees. They flagged off marketing margins as one of the key strengths for BPCL, and additionally, they also have flagged off the crude movement. Do remember, we've seen crude prices go up. Excuse me, to approximately $71 per barrel. But for BPCL in particular, UBS is saying that the focus is shifting away from refineries to petrochemicals, and the retail fuel margins are going to remain stable, despite the fact that crude has gone to 71. So that's, I suppose, an added trigger for BPCL today in trade. Kunal, M&M today a big gainer in the Nifty. What are you observing here?
Yeah, I think the stock is forming a rounding bottom pattern. It's been hovering around the 50-day moving average for I think the last 4 weeks. Mid of March is where the stock had started to come back to this particular mean, and it's just about taking decent support at those levels. Now I sense that with this rounding bottom pattern with slight pickup in volumes today, I believe M&M could be one of the few candidates on the auto pack which can break out of this deep consolidation. So that should be maybe a buy above those levels of 685, which is 10 rupees higher from current levels, and kept for a target of at least 725 on a short-term basis.
0.7% higher for M&M today in trade. Manas, PNB Housing has been seeing some red on the screen for some time now. Today as well, in fact, it's declined to the day's low, 2.5% lower, and it's just been about at that level for the last couple of minutes. What would you make of the move?
See, it has disappointed big time, because recently we have seen a bounce back from the level of around 800 to almost 950. But the stock could not sustain above 100-day moving average. Now, I think it is better idea to switch from PNB Housing to India Bull Housing Finance, because here the chances are very much there that India Bull Housing Finance can test 1,000 mark in next 3 to 4 months time. And I think in PNB Housing, I think the trend will turn bullish only if it breaks its 200-day moving average, which is pretty near to 1,000 mark.
All right, so that's PNB Housing, a strategy being recommended by Manas. Samya, meantime, Wipro, the buyback news is now official, but I think most of the stock move is what we had seen yesterday.
Well, yes, in fact, it's out on the exchanges yesterday. The company is considering a proposal for buyback in its board meeting on April 16th. Well, if reports are to be believed, this buyback could be the biggest by Wipro, valued at over 12,000 crore rupees. Earlier, the company had done this share buyback 2 times, and what we're gathering is this could be the biggest buyback for the company. Nomura on this said that typically the company returns cash largely in the form of single large buyback, and given the quantum of the buyback, the stock is likely to see near-term support if they see the stock trading at fair valuations. Apart from it, Morgan Stanley also said that they maintained underweight with a target price of 225 per share, and said that the buyback could be a positive for the sentiments. So the stock just gaining by around 1%.
All right, moving on to the next big mover, and that's Century Ply. Do remember that it had dropped significantly after that downgrade that came in from CLSA from buy to sell, and today those losses seems to be extended. In fact, it's been falling for the 4th straight day. Now it's sub even the 190 rupee mark, or almost sub the 190 rupee mark. Remember, CLSA had flagged off concerns with respect to margins, and hence they had downgraded the stock price to a sell. It had already fallen 7% yesterday. Today there seems to be some follow-up selling. Okay, Kunal, let's talk about V-Guard. What is it that's causing the stock to be on your radar?
So the stock is coming back, after a bit of a lull period, remaining sideways. The volumes have been quite decent the last 2 days, especially today. And in terms of chart patterns, longer term time scale patterns, the stock has been on a very strong multi-year uptrend. But even the short-term charts, there was this bit of a 5 rupee or a 7 rupee range where the stock is getting stuck into. But I think if the stock breaks off this 224, 225 barrier, which it tried to attempt today, I believe the breakout could happen for V-Guard. So that's a stock which is into buy radar. Targets of 235 post the breakout, and stop is to be kept at 218.
Okay, 0.6% higher today for V-Guard, and Kunal has flagged off the technicals. Another stock that continues to gain is Indocount Industries. Manas, what are you making? What are your observations here?
Mubina, I think last month the stock witnessed a sharp reversal from the level of around 30 rupees to almost 67 rupees. Now stock is moving sideways for last, I think, 7-8 trading sessions. But I think here the trend is positive. I think if you're long, then definitely you can hold it. Your stop loss should be around 45 rupees. If you want to create fresh long position, then I think you should wait for a breakout above 57 rupees. If it breaks 57 rupees, then definitely the target would be around 72 to 75 rupees.
All right, so that's the view coming in on an Indo-Count Industries. But unfortunately, we're out of time on this edition of the show. So Kunal and Manas, thanks so much for joining in. Soumya, to you as well for wrapping up the big movers and shakers today in trade. But of course, do remember, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is when the tech biggies are going to be reporting their fourth quarter numbers. The question is, of course, at this point of time for technology is whether the seasonal weakness that does set in for tech will hurt the fourth quarter numbers. Not to mention, of course, the currency movement that we've witnessed as well is something whose impact will be watched out for. Infosys as well as TCS. These are the companies which will announce their numbers tomorrow post market hours. Stay tuned to India's #1 business channel for all the news and analysis. Until then, it's a goodbye on Market Fatafat. Coming up next is Market Signals.